Hey Tyler, how's it going?
What's up, dude? Doing well. Apologies about the other day.
Oh, no problem, man. Having your own business, that keeps you busy. How's the business been?
It's been really good. Like I said, I don't even log into my own personal Instagram hardly at all anymore. So I even got that message a day late. I'm like, oh crap, that doesn't happen very often. So I'm usually pretty on top of things, but lately I've been on top of things with the business and not so much with MMA as far as that type of stuff. So
Yeah. Hey man, no worries. Like I'm the exact same way. Like with my personal Snapchat, personal Instagram, I'm always on here 24/7.
I
So I
see.
don't even check, all the stuff.
Right on.
But I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Um, I want to get into it. How's your 2021 going so far?
Oh, it's going great. Just controlling the things I can control, training super hard, and getting ready to actually fight this year. So that's a breath of fresh air for me.
Hmm. And I saw that you're growing out the mullets. How's the mullet been this year?
Dude, it's been good. I don't even know exactly why I started growing it. I guess at the start of quarantine, I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna do something new, and I started growing it. And to be honest, there's like a lot of white guy wrestlers that kind of look like me. So if it helps distinguish me a little bit from some others, then that's not a bad thing either. And I kind of dig it. I mean, it's kind of nasty. A lot of people don't like it. So I think because of that, I like it even more.
Yeah, I'm trying to grow out mine too. This is probably the longest my hair's been,
Hell yeah.
like having the party in the back. A lot of MMA fighters, that's kind of like a trend. The party in the back's coming back. Who do you think has the best mullet in mixed martial arts besides you?
Well, I know that Ricky Simone used to have a killer one.
Hmm. Then he
Um,
cut it off.
yeah, and then he cut it off, man. I don't know what the heck, but I thought his was pretty cool. I don't know who currently. Dude, I don't really follow fighting a crap ton, to be honest. So I'm gonna have to retake that top spot once I win a few fights and people have their eyes on me again.
Hmm. So, I know you're a fighter, do you consider yourself much as a fight fan, or oh, what's your position on that?
I'm like 50-50. Like I'll catch the fights when I'm available and stuff, but like I don't have a ton of free time, man. Like typically on Saturday nights I'm like working or doing something for my business. So if I have the time, I'll watch the fights. But otherwise, man, it's kind of like, oh, I'll check Twitter. Oh, this person beat this person. But there's certain fights
Hmm.
like I can't miss. Like this weekend, for example, I cannot miss Connor and Poirier fighting again. So I'll be watching that for a fact. But yeah, for the most part, man, I'm pretty busy. So I'm just like always doing my thing. And I try to check in as much as I can and see what's going on.
Hmm. Tell me more about the business. It's you have a meal prep business, right? Like Diamond Meal Prep, I believe.
Yeah,
How like
it's called Diamond Dash Meal Prep Service. It's funny. So I'm in Northern California, and in a lot of big cities, there's a lot of meal prep companies. And when I was in fight camp, my wife used to meal prep for me, and then I'd go down to Sacramento Monday through Friday, and I'd come back up, and we'd meal prep together on Sundays, and it kind of just like organically happened, and that's why I tell everyone all the time, like, hey, dude, there's like a business niche out there for you, and you just have to take that opportunity when you get it. So for us, we would upload pictures on like our stories of like the meals we would make on Sundays, and we noticed that all these people were hitting us up all the time, like, where did you get those? Um, who the folk is this guy? I just read the first comment. That's funny. Who the folk are you? Um, but anywho, uh, it just organically happened, and we saw a need from all these people hitting us up, like, where do you get those? We're like, dang, why don't we think about starting a business? So we kind of did it on the side for a few months, and really got good at it as far as like what our food quantity is, like what works, what doesn't. And then man, I at the end of 2019, I went and got the DBA, the business license, turned us into an LLC,
awesome.
got a kitchen for rent from a really good friend, and we're off and running, and we're growing, and it's great because not only do I have healthy meals for me 24/7 now, but I also get to make a little bit of money to where I'm not solely depending on fighting.
Hmm. And when did you create that business, and or where are you based out of?
We first started in October of 2019, and we're
Wow.
based out of Orville, California, which is my hometown, but we service the whole county because we deliver as well. So
Hmm.
it's cool. It's a great thing that we've created, and I've actually got a couple other business ventures that I'm thinking about getting into here shortly because fighting's great, man, and it can pay well. But like you got to have those other sources of revenue. You know, for years I was so broke all the damn time. And you got to know when you first start fighting, like you're going to be broke. And, you know, you're training twice a day. Like you, it's so hard getting a job that will like fit your schedule. And I was just hustling for years, man. And I think when I turned 28 or something, I came to the realization, I'm like, I can only hustle like this for so long. Like, yes, I'm going to get
Hmm.
signed to a major promotion soon, but why can't I do something to make good money and fight for great money at the same time? Like I don't think there's no reason why I can't. So just kind of organically happened. One thing led to another. And then here we are, own the food prep business. And then my wife's a teacher and I fight and things are going great.
Yeah, you always have to have that side hustle. That's what I respect about guys like you and Ally Quinta. He's a real estate agent.
Correct.
And then Jeff Neal, who's a waiter at like a Texas Roadhouse or something.
Oh, no
Like it's
kidding.
like an hour away from me. Yeah. So he waits tables on the side, and he says that he wouldn't quit his job until he has like $1 million in the bank.
That's smart.
Would you have the same mindset?
Oh, absolutely. There's no reason why Jeff Neal can't do what he's doing and fight, right? If as long as it doesn't take away from his training, you know, there's jobs out there for fighters that
Hmm.
you can do and they won't take away from your training. I mean, there's so many hours in the day, you know, like you got to utilize your time. I mean, sure, you need a little bit of leisure time to chill, but like we don't need as much as people think. You know, there's no reason why you can't be busy.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Ally Quinta. That's funny you said that. I actually tagged him in a post a few months ago because I got my real estate license,
Oh yeah.
and it's something I'm going to go into as soon as I have more time. But right now, I'm dedicating all my free time to training and getting ready to win this $1 million in PFL. So I got my real estate license. I got my life insurance license. I've been doing all this stuff in my free time to set myself up for the future.
Hmm. If you ever make a real estate business, is it going to be like Diamond Real Estate, or like do you have any
I don't
working
know.
names at the moment?
I'll probably just join a brokerage and you know have my name that I have just carry me. I got a pretty good reputation in the community. Like, you know, I think who wouldn't want to buy a house or sell their house with a guy who fights on ESPN? You know, like I'm really looking forward to that. By the way, with PFL, like I think that's so cool.
Hmm. And you got signed to them in April of last year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. I think it was actually like March. It was right before like the craziness happened. It was I basically signed and then I was getting ready to get a fight contract in my email. They were talking about like, here's your opponent. I'm getting ready to get it. And then all of a sudden the world shut down and I'm kind of like, hey, what's
Hmm.
going on? Are we still going? And it's kind of like, it's not looking good. And then PFL announced, hey, we're just scrapping the whole season. So then I'm like, dang it. You know, like I was really looking forward to this. But then they announced, you know, they were going to pay us a monthly stipend, which is better than nothing. And I kind of just took it as, okay, this is a good opportunity to fully invest in the business, continue getting better. And this is going to give me more time than I ever would have had to grow the business. So I just took advantage of it.
Hmm. And with that, with the PFL shutting down for 2020, they signed a lot of great names. Like you and Rory McDonald, newly Anthony Pettis, Fabricio Verdum. The list goes on. But what's one name that surprised you that they signed?
I mean, obviously, Verdum, Pettis, and Rory kind of, I think, probably surprised a lot of people. But if you really think about it, it shouldn't surprise anyone. I mean, dude, we're fighting for $1 million. Like, who wouldn't want to fight for $1 million? You know what I mean? Like, you'd be stupid not to. And I'm all about, I'm just trying to chase the money now, you know? Like, think about this, dude. I fought one time in the UFC. I lost a super close fight, supposedly. And that
Hmm.
guy since is 5-0 in the UFC. How many other guys have fought one time in the UFC, lost a close decision fight, and then got cut, and then the guy went 5-0 after that. I bet you there's no one that's happened to. So the UFC missed the boat with me, man. And their loss is PFL's gain. I'm going to go over to PFL and do great things and win a bunch of money. So I'm stoked about it.
And with PFL, like I know, I think Kayla Harrison had like this uniform or something. I don't watch too much PFL because it's obviously got shut down for 2020. But how's the deal with the sponsors over there? Like how much better is the money over there than the UFC?
Well, the contract's a lot better. Like the starting pay is the exact same, but then from there you take way bigger leaps than you do with the UFC. And then obviously, once you get into the tournament, the money's really good. Like I think your first fight in the tournament is like $50K and $50K.
Wow.
I mean,
it's a performance bonus. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me, and I think it would be a no-brainer for a lot of people, and which is why you're seeing these guys that are fighting their last contract to UFC, that are jumping ship and they're going over. So can't blame them.
And and your last two fights were in the LFA,
right? My second to last one was, and my last one was supposed to be. Super weird story. LFA and Access TV like discontinued their partnership, and this was like 2 weeks before my fight. So it kind of made me nervous. I'm like, dang, this isn't looking good, And and then finally, like, I don't know, a week and a half before I was supposed to fight for them for the belt, they hit me up like, hey man, we're the show's not going on. We can't find a partner. So I was like, dang it. I'm in shape right now to fight a 25-minute fight, and I don't have a fight. This sucks. Like, you put so much into fight camp, not only financially, but just like your blood and sweat, and I'm like, dang, I need to fight right now. So there just so happened to be a little show in my hometown that had a couple pretty good fighters on it. And I hit up the promoter and I'm like, hey man, like, I talked to the casino. I know how ticket sales are going. They're not going that good. If you put me on this show and you pay me X amount of dollars, and you find me a guy with a winning record at any weight class, I'll fight him and your show will be good, basically. And that guy chomped at the bit because he knew, like, being a hometown guy with a lot of support, if he puts me on there, he'll sell the show out. And he did. And he made a bunch of money. I made money. I got to fight. I got a good win. It was only 30 seconds. Just went in there and happened to punch the guy.
Easy money.
Just so happened to go out there and punch the guy right in the jaw and choke him out. And super easy money. So it was beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, I like that mindset. Anytime, anywhere, then the easy paycheck. That's always good to have.
Yep, absolutely.
And like going into 2021, like, would you say after like a year on the sidelines, would you say that you're hungrier than ever for a fight?
Totally. It's like, man, I was thinking a few months ago, it feels so like I was watching some fights and I'm like, it's so crazy that I do this, like the feeling is just so weird. Like, man, this is like what I do, and I'm super, super excited. Like I've never been hungrier in my life. And the break was probably the best thing for me. I've been training at a super high level for a really long time, like since I was a kid. So I really welcome and cherish these little breaks when I can get them. And I just so happen to have a huge break from competition, not training necessarily. So, I'm pumped to get back in there.
And I was looking through like an interview. I believe you called out Lance Palmer. What's like, he's a really big name, but can you just elaborate on the reasoning for calling out such a big guy in the division?
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily like call him out per se. My whole thing is like, I know my skill set, I know his, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to end up meeting up in the tournament. I mean, it's inevitable, he's a friend of mine. I'm a friend of his. And, I think he looks at it the same exact way. Like, we're friends. We'll be friends before we fight. We'll be friends after we fight. But in that fight, we're going to go after it. And we're both going to have a lot more money than we had going into it. So that's a great thing. And so yeah, that's the thing, you know, is it's inevitable. It's probably going to happen, and it's not the best situation, him being like a friend of mine, but it is what it is. You know, we're both professionals, and we're just going to get in there and do what we got to do.
Awesome. Great to hear. And I definitely want to hear about your time on Tough 27. I've interviewed quite a bit of guys from Tough 27. I think that's honestly one of my favorite seasons. So, like, I like to work my way down the roster.
Yeah,
But we got to talk about your fight against Jay Cucciniello. You know, one of the greatest fights ever to take place in the house.
totally.
I think it's probably second to maybe Forrest Griffin versus Stephen Bonner.
Mm.
But that fight was out of the house. So would you consider that fight the best fight in the Tough House history?
I definitely think so. It's unfortunate that I was on the losing end, you know, but
Yeah.
the reason why I think it was the greatest fight ever is if they would have had betting odds, Jay would have been one of the biggest underdogs ever. I mean, you know,
Hmm.
he would have been an insane underdog, and man, that fight was insane. I remember going into it, and I let the opposing coaches get in my head. I really did. They were saying how boring my first fight with that was 6 days prior with Dulani was, and then I just laid on him, and I'm like, I didn't fucking lay on him. Like, I beat the shit out of him, you know. And I
Yeah.
remember just being like, you know what, I'm going to finish Jay in spectacular fashion. Like, I'm gonna shove it down those guys' throats, you know. So I remember going into that fight so confident and thinking, okay, I can't get tired. I'm just going to go after him the whole time. And, you know, you saw the first round, I went after his
Hmm.
ass, and I sat him down a couple times. But then I remember after the
Almost,
first,
it was a very close to a finish.
yeah, and I remember after the first round, I'm like, damn, this guy hung through it. And then the second round came out, and it was like a close round. And he started working my body so good, better than anyone ever has. He exploited a hole that I used to have. And I remember going to third thinking, dang, like I have to dig really deep. Like this is an even fight at this point. He's working my body. And gosh dang, Jason Herzog ended up stepping in with like a minute left. I'm confident I could have survived, and I wish it would have went to a decision. I would have lost that way instead. Um, you know, if it would have went that way, it probably would have, to be honest. Because I mean, I won the first, he won the third, and the second was a kind of a toss up. So I'm curious to know what would have happened if it would have went to the judges' scorecards. But yeah, man, I think that's one of the best fights that not a lot of people have ever seen, because it that episode also aired July 4th too, which wasn't the best thing for
Hmm.
viewership. But yeah, what a great fight, and that's something that Jay Cucciniello will be very proud of his whole life. You know, I mean, that was the best win he's ever gotten, and it was all heart on his end. You know, like he totally rose to the occasion, and any anyone that watches that fight can't help but be a Jay Cucciniello fan after that.
Yeah, that's definitely for me too. I talked to him. It was one of my first interviews, and he's just such a humble guy. You
Yes.
know, and it's unfortunate that you know making it to the finale, he didn't get a shot in the UFC either. And I feel like I don't hate the UFC per se, but like, I mean, obviously I'm a fan of the UFC, but this is treatment that they give to fighters with their contracts. It's like Brad Katona got cut like after two losses.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that?
I was surprised, you know, like I couldn't believe that they cut me and Jay after losing to tough guys, you know. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that they cut Brad. Like Brad got an unfair shake too, you know.
Hmm.
And I don't
And
know.
those were against like two elite level competitors. I think it was like Marab and I can't remember his it was yeah, it was Marab and then Hunter Azure, and
Mhm.
that was a split decision.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, the decision making makes you scratch your head a little bit, you know. And just like I touched on earlier, how many guys have fought one time, lost a close fight, and then had their guy go 5-0? Like, I would really love for like some MMA stat guru to pull that up and see if anyone that's happened to anyone else. I guarantee you it hasn't. So it's just it makes me chuckle now thinking about it. It's just like ridiculous.
Hmm. And you know, with the next season of The Ultimate Fighter, you know, it's gonna. I think it got pushed back for filming in the summer,
Mm,
but sources tell me that Brad Katona is actually I think he was at the tryouts, the virtual tryouts for the next season of The Ultimate Fighter. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure that the reports are accurate, but do you think it's kind of weird for the UFC to cut a guy, and then they might add him to the next season? Like, how weird do you find that?
Huh, that is interesting. I mean, I can't see why he wouldn't get on the show. I mean, he's got fan recognition, and gosh dang, he would have to be a favorite to win the show, especially at 135. I mean, because he was up a weight class, which can be an advantage in that show because you fight so often and such. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I fought twice in 6 days, and that sucked. But I think that if Brad gets on, he'll do really well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be at 135. Like, could you maybe like potentially get a weight cut down to 135, or do you think you would like miss it?
Yeah, I could make 135. There's no doubt in my mind. My whole thing is like, just because you can make the weight doesn't mean you're gonna fight more effectively there. And I think
Yeah.
that's been shown. I mean, like TJ Dillashaw dropped 25 and had no water in his brain and got flicked, and then, like got knocked out basically. So the juice isn't always worth the squeeze, man. It's such a lifestyle change. Like, you have to be so strict going down to that next weight, and there's no guarantee that you're actually going to perform better there. So I've always known that I could make 35, but I make 45 comfortably, and I feel good there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's probably where I'll just be the remainder of my career. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Gotcha. And I guess last question about Tough. Do you still talk to those guys? Like, do you have like a big group chat where you just send memes, or like, what's the deal with like, how do you guys stay in touch?
Yeah, we have a group chat on IG. It's been a little slow lately. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different people doing different things. I mean, I don't even know if 3 or 4 of the guys that are even on the show even fight anymore. And then,
Oh wow.
then there's others that are like, stuck between like getting into the UFC and like local shows. They're just kind of like bouncing around, working, doing their thing and fighting. And then you got the other guys who are like actually in the UFC, actually fighting. So they give a fuck about everyone else probably, like they're on their own. Everyone's just on their own journey. I think that we all probably think about one another here and there, and I wish them all well, I wish them all the best. But yeah, maybe after this I'll send a little message, hey, what's up everybody, and start a group chat going again.
Nice. And one of the most interesting people on the show was John Gunther. I always look through his stories and his posts, and it's very interesting, I must say.
Oh, dude, Gunther was the most incredible guy. So there's a lot of stuff that people don't know happens prior to filming. I mean, we were locked in Palace Station Hotel for 10 days, and we would have like a schedule, and we would call them and be like, hey, I want to work out at 10:30. So at 10 o'clock, someone would come up to your room, come get you, bring you down, put you in the van. You go to the workout, the Tough gym, and Gunther would stay there all day. So he would go at 7:30, and he wouldn't leave till 8:30 at night. And we'd all be like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? And he didn't talk to anybody. And he just looks at you like with these wide ass eyes and his curly mustache, and you're just like, whoa, dude, like there's something off about this guy. I think he kills people and shoves them in closets or something. So finally I was like, dude, someone's got to break the ice with this guy. So it wasn't till the first day of filming, when we actually got in the house, I started talking to him. And I was like, hey, Gunther, how's it going? And he's like, good. And I'm like, what do you do? Like outside of fighting? He's like, oh, I shear alpacas. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I knew that shears or something weird was involved with this guy, right? And then when I got him to do his alpaca call, it was just like the greatest thing ever. So whenever he would do anything interesting, I'd be like, hit the alpaca call, and he was like all about it. And dude, he was just so interesting. Like, I walked into his room one night, and he was literally sleeping on the fucking ground, like all mummied up. I guess he doesn't sleep on beds. Like, the guy would eat the weirdest shit. And, I could wake up at 1 a.m. sometimes, go out and take a piss, and look outside, and he's shooting double eggs on the tree. I'm just like, dude, what the hell is wrong with this guy? But, dude, he just Gunther lives life, man. And he lives life by his own set of rules. and definitely one of the most interesting guys in tough history. That's for sure.
Yeah, amen to that. And one last question for you before I let you go. When are you looking to get back into the cage? Like, and has PFL told you anything where it's like, have they hinted at, when they're going to put on events again?
Yeah, so I got an email saying that I'm gonna be fighting late April, early May, and then after that I'll be fighting like a month and a half later, and then a month and a half later again.
Wow.
So yeah, it's gonna be a busy summer from late April to August. I think I'm gonna fight 2 times minimum, 4 times max. So it's gonna be a busy summer. It's all performance based, So how I do in those first 2 fights will determine what takes place in the third fight, and then the fourth fight. So yeah, I'm pumped, man. It's almost go time, and no one's gonna be counting on me to take that tournament. I mean, you got some high level guys. You got Lance Palmer, you got Bubba Jenkins, newly signed. Like, you got some guys who people are expecting to be in the finals. So I'm just gonna go bust the bracket up.
Hmm. And you've already been on a tournament, and with tough, you would have to fight maybe once every week, 2 weeks. So, but
Yep.
with this one, it's maybe once every 1 month, 2 months. So, you got this one easy, man.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. I definitely got experience on my side here. I fought in tough where it was a like super quiet environment, kind of like what
Hmm.
will take place here at PFL, fighting in a bubble. And yeah, I fought in a tournament. I fought twice in 6 days. So ain't nothing new, man. It's just whoever's the healthiest is gonna do well, and whoever
Hmm.
obviously shows up and fights a good fight on fight night will do well in this tournament. So I'm pumped.
Hmm. Gotcha. Thanks for the time, Tyler. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll catch up after your next fight. But
Certainly.
yeah, thank you so much.
No, thank you, man. And you have a good one. I really appreciate your time.
You too. Thank you.
All right. See you, brother.